Welcome, guys. This is episode 1 or 2?
2.
Okay, episode 2. And this week we are talking about internships. As you go through your 20s, you will go through either a job at the moment, internship, or work experience. However, all three are linked, and yeah, there's some pointers because all of us, well, myself and Tom, have been through a few internships, and would like to give some information. As in, if I'd known this, I would have found this quite valuable at the time, because it was quite a daunting process for myself, and just the fear of being out there with yeah.
So we're going to be talking about internships. So we're going to say how you get an internship. We're going to say why you get an internship, and we're going to talk about some of the places where you can get an internship. So to start with, we're going to start with why you should get an internship and the values you can get from an internship, because it's basically a thing where you have to do in order to get to certain places. So in terms of like being an apprentice, sort of like under some kind of a good management or under a boss, so that you can just gain all of the experiences from them.
True. However, I thought myself like internship is a good way of applying what you've learned in class. However, in some cases, you might be opening your eyes into the field that you want to follow, or you have an idea, or it's your dream to go into. So really, the values you get from an internship will help you determine what career path you'd like to follow, and help you think if working Monday to Friday is your cup of tea. In some cases, it may not be, or it might even drive you as to be your own boss.
True. I mean, with the internship as well, just like what Jeremy said, it's a thing where you would do from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever company you're within. And it's also a quick taster for you to know, is this industry for me? Is this the field I want to get into? Because internship typically, if you do like a summer internship, it's typically 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
3 months.
However, what you find is that you can't, basically, in those 3 months, you won't see everything the business has to offer. You will only see a small amount. But what I would suggest, that you take the time to develop the relationships with the people you work with.
Yes.
Because there's only so much information you can take in 3 months to try and understand the whole business as a general, because it's a really short time.
Yeah, it is a really short time, and just what Jeremy said, because when you go inside a company, you will have like loads of people who know their stuff, and because they know their stuff, you might as well just go to them and say, okay, I want to learn this, and then they will say, okay, I'm going to teach you this particular topic that you've asked me about, and you are cutting the learning curve by building those relationships.
But it's at times could also feel like going back. It's like your first day in school. Like, you wouldn't really want to go straight in and be like, oh, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I'm good at that. You would really want to, go to the people that know their stuff and try and learn off them.
Sure.
And not just that, but try and develop a relationship with them, because that is where the more value, because it's easier for you as a person to approach a friend and be like, hey, I have this problem, could you help me out? Whereas, oh, I think I'm good at this, and this is what I know. But so try not to be so rigid when you're approaching placement or
internship, similar thing. Yeah. So now we're going to talk about how they can go about applying for an internship, because there's different methods that you can go through applying for an internship.
Yeah.
So typically for me, my first internship, I found it on Gumtree.
Really?
I found it on Gumtree. So that was after second year from university. I literally dropped my bags, opened my laptop, Gumtree, and so there are, of course, you have the typical job websites that you go through. So go through the typical process. That's step 1. That's one option. And then
step 2 is your cover letter. Like that's what will set you apart, really. Whether it's applying for a job, internship. However, these days more and more companies are moving away from it, but it will set you apart
Apart.
if you take the time to research the company, the aims, and try and align yourself, as in show that you have similar goals and interests as the company, because that will set you apart from your competition.
Definitely. That's definitely true, because if you want a particular company that you specifically want and you see their goals, their values, and their core company attributes like are in alignment with yours, definitely write a cover letter and say, hey, this is what I am about, and this is why you should accept me. And that's one way. And with the interview process for an internship, typically with internships, some of them don't have interviews, but some of them do. But when it comes to interview, research the company.
Oh yeah, because I remember I had an interview, and yeah, funny enough, I'd been on one of the projects that we were working on previously, and that I think that's what really set me apart, is that I was able to relate to current affairs, as well as I knew a little bit about the history of the co-founders, some of the values, which is like health and safety was one of the biggest goals for that company, and being able to interact, because it stops most of the awkward silences between me and the people who are interviewing me. Like, there's nothing worse than trying to sit in a room full of people who are asking you questions and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you put yourself in their shoes. Like, you have to employ someone at the end of the day, and the person who you see is likely to make the biggest contribution to your company, whereas if you're looking at relationships, or as well as how much they know, but knowledge is only a small margin.
That's very, very, very true. So make sure you have those two, three processes down. So step one, go through the typical process. Step two, make sure you have a cover letter if it's a company you truly want to do an internship with. And step three is like researching about the company for your interview, making sure that you have all of the information and the knowledge down in place.
Yep.
So now we're going to talk about where you can have an internship. You can have an internship in a big company or a small company. It depends what kind of person you are. Because with a small company like startups or smaller businesses, you get to do more stuff.
Good, which is very good, as in it will open your eyes to see what other fields within your company or field you would like to be involved in.
Yes.
Whereas if you're going to a large company, there'll be a lot of things happening.
Yes.
However, like, people won't have time for you.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
to me, I would suggest that you go for a medium company. It's like Hovis bread. You get the best of both worlds. Like, it's not too busy.
50-50.
Yeah, it's not too busy, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's not too slow.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is give time in your summer,
Mm-hmm.
which most people do, or if you've just graduated or you just started working, like, you don't want to be sitting there in your office scratching your head thinking, what am I doing here?
Yeah. So make sure when you go to a company, if it's a big company, just know that they might make you do mundane stuff.
Yeah, like cups of coffee.
So make sure you know what you're getting into.
Yep.
Because with a small company, medium-sized company, typically you'll not just do what you are supposed to do. And one thing that people say, that's not my job. Don't say that's not my job when you go into an internship. If you're going to your placement now, this is still applicable for students going into the placement now.
Even in work, I mean, even though it's kind of harder with work, as in, just have a bit more, I would say accept a bit more responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you never know where it may lead to. But it's a hard equation to balance.
Yes.
Because in taking on more responsibility, it takes up more of your time. However, if it's something you're passionate about,
I'm sure you'll be able to handle it. Because, for example, with my first internship, I worked within a startup company and going to board meetings, meeting CEOs, investors, and we had to sit there, and everyone has to step up above their role.
Yeah.
You can't not say, this is not my job. You have to step up above your role, and then this is what makes you stand out as an intern or as a placement student or as a work experience student. So make sure like you go a little bit above your role, not by stepping on people's shoes or stepping on people's toes, but just make sure you know which kind of organization you want to get into. So you have the extreme small, you have the other extreme big, and you have the middle. So it depends which one you want to go to specifically. So make sure you research and know why, and why, how, and where. So in terms of where, in terms of region within this country, England, London has loads, and London typically has more internships than
Other parts of the country.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid. As in, I remember I was talking to someone who had to travel 2 hours every day to get to his intern. And I think, where was he living? I think he was living outside of London. However, his placement was at London Bridge. And every day you see him, he would be tired, but he was still there. So don't be afraid of little distance. At the end of the day,
true.
It's 3 months. Like, 3 months, you can either use the 3 months and you can chill, play your PlayStation, and you still stay the same. Or you can take that time to invest in yourself and gain some experience. Because it's not really what you know that defines you, it's what you've experienced.
Very true.
And yeah, because at the end of the day, you're not tied into it for 3 months, or some people may do 8 weeks, 6 weeks. At the end of those 6 weeks, if you learn one thing, and it turns out to be this job is not for you, you've saved yourself a lot of time
and years.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Because you don't want to be signing that contract, like that graduate contract or that 2-year contract, saying, yeah, I'm going to be here for 2 years, and you hate going to your job. The worst thing would be you waking up and saying, oh, I have to go to work. You know, typically you want to have an experience where you're like, yeah, okay, I kind of like my job. It's fun. I learn a lot. Or you're like, yes, another day, another opportunity to learn more stuff, another opportunity to be around the industry.
Another one.
So, yeah, those are some of the few tips that we'll give you. And in terms of where, also, not specific London, but you know, if you go to another region or another region of the country,
even just the country, but international. Like, I've had
Yes.
friends who were doing
Yes.
placements or interns in Singapore, and they were London based. So don't just look at if it's a job or intern. Don't just look at your local. Just be prepared. Like, you're young now. You're in your 20s. You don't have any major responsibilities. So if you can afford to travel, by all means go for it. You'll thank yourself later on, because you may go to, say you travel to Thailand and have a placement there, or an intern, and you'll enjoy it. Who says you may not enjoy it, but you've done that. You can turn around in 10 years and say, when I was 20, I did this and this, I worked on this, and I didn't like it. So that from that decision, I went into this path.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
but most of all, don't forget to enjoy yourself.
yes, enjoy the experience.
That's it. Your 20s is a good time. It's it's one of the only times you can really try as much as you like.
Very, very, very true. Very, very, very true. This being the key factor.
Yeah. So don't be afraid of new opportunities, even though it's not something you may be comfortable with. Try it, because you'll surprise yourself, and you may learn something you never knew about you.
That's very true. So it's a self-discovery journey. You're discovering more about yourself. And in terms of Jeremy saying, oh yeah, going to someone like Thailand for an internship or a placement, that would be such a wonderful experience to learn about not just the job, but about the culture, the food, the people, learn another language, be diverse, have international friends, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, specifically, do not have. If you know why you want to work at a specific region, have your specific reasons listed down. But also don't forget that you can learn from a different environment or from a different region, regionally, internationally. Just be broad. And in terms of being broad, just list the things down and know why you want it and why you want to go there. So it can be a numbers game. It can be a thing of a numbers game. So yeah. Anyway, those are the tips. So now we're gonna talk about the book of the week.
The book of the week. What was the book of the week?
The book of the week is Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh wow!
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeesh, guys,
That
you
book.
need to read this book.
Wow.
Like, it will open your mind, and it will help you understand that. Basically, it will teach you the one topic we never taught in school, which is understanding money and how you can make money work for you.
Very, very true. Very, very true. So the first principle, like, I'll just talk about the first principle. I'll let you read the book. You can either buy it physically or you can YouTube it simply by listening to the audiobook. You don't necessarily have to sit down and listen to it. It can be like jogging, cycling, going to the gym, whatever you're doing on the tube. Just make sure like you're listening to audiobooks. Sometimes when you have nothing else to do. I mean, listening to music here and there as well. But yeah, listening to the audiobook.
We'll talk here, because even myself, I like it with Beyonce, but you know.
So yeah, the first principle of the book basically goes to the 10% rule.
I suppose pay yourself.
10% rule.
Yeah.
Pay yourself.
Pay yourself first. How many people pay themselves? When's the last time you paid yourself?
Yeah. So pay yourself first. Get that 10% out of the way. If you're earning £2,000, just make sure you get that £200 to yourself.
3,000, what?
I said 2,000.
Oh,
£2,000. So you get that 200 from yourself.
Hey,
if it's 3,000, you get that 300 from yourself. Yeah, just basic maths. Anyway, so that's the first rule. It also teaches about the principle of investment. It goes through the stories of the mistakes that people typically do. It goes into the rules of how to treat gold and why you should invest in gold. And the book is just phenomenal. Life-changing. I mean, you reading this in your 20s will save you a lot of hassle.
Yeah.
Like for many years to go. Because you'll probably be like in your 30s or 40s, like.
That's what I think. Yeah, that's when. I mean, when was it? I read it when I was like 19. So back then, it really. I mean, there were other books I was reading at the time, but The Richest Man in Babylon has always been up there as one of my favorites.
Yes.
So, I wish someone had recommended it to me when I was younger.
Yes, I'm gonna make my kids read it from like 13 onwards.
But yeah, it's still a long time for that.
Still a long time for that. Yes.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in.
Yes. Until next Sunday.
Until next Sunday.
Stay blessed.
Take care, guys.